All right, welcome to this guided meditation. What we're learning here in this course, what we're doing is actually, in a way, training attention, but the opposite way that most people would think you would train attention. So instead of focusing on a single object, like the breath or even a candle flame, we're learning to relax and open the mind and reveal this natural awareness that's there in the background and that doesn't require us to kind of control our spotlight of attention. It's more like we're turning on the floodlight. So hopefully you've begun to experience that so far. As the mind becomes more collected, it can enter a state that's called jhana in the traditional texts. And this is a controversial term. I'll talk more about it in the lesson. What I'm really talking about here is a continuous flow of meta awareness that has certain joyful qualities to it. So, there was a study on some of my teacher students which found that advanced meditators showed this big spike in their heart rate variability, which is a indicator of the body's state of kind of relaxation and general health. And this occurred during jhana, during this deep state of meditation. And then what they did is they trained complete beginners at this same type of meditation that you've been learning here, the metta meditation. And they found that after just 3 weeks, which is about where you're at in this course, 50 to 60% of those beginning meditators were entering jhana, were reporting kind of jhana characteristics, and that they had similar spikes in their heart rate variability as the experts. So those were beginners who were meditating about 20 minutes a day for 3 weeks. And it's possible that some of you have already experienced or are starting to experience characteristics of jhana as we've defined it here. And so this meditation will just talk a bit more about that progression and how to really cultivate this collected state of mind. So please make yourself comfortable with an upright spine if possible. And you can just start by relaxing your body from the top of your head down through your face, inside your head, through your neck and shoulders, and scanning through the rest of your body, softening any tension. You can take some deep breaths if that's helpful. And really sink into that feeling of relaxation like, ah, what a relief. I can set down any tension in both my mind and my body. That tension that makes us want to move and do things all the time, we can set that aside. And for the next minute, I'll invite you just to sit there smiling. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, enjoying. Then you can begin to kindle the positive feeling, bringing up a happy memory. It could be a time you were generous, like we practiced yesterday, time that you were kind to somebody else. You could use a phrase like, may I be happy. Or you could picture something very lovable, like a cute baby, an animal, or a dear friend. Whichever of those tools helps you bring up this positive feeling most easily. And so you might feel this kind of warmth, this tingling or vibration somewhere in your body. And allow that feeling to grow, to spread out all over your body, letting it fill up your entire field of awareness. And then you can notice if your metta awareness goes offline, if you lose touch with the feeling. That's your time to use the 4 R's to recognize, release, like opening a clenched fist, which also means to relax the body, to relax the tension in your head, and then to relish the positive feeling again and remain with it. Recognize, release, relish, and remain. And then just enjoying that pure mind, positive feeling. Simply sitting back and watching like a movie. And all you have to do is step out of that movie if you forget that you're sitting in the theater. You step out with the 4 R's very skillfully, opening the mind back up, opening back up your field of awareness, and enjoying. Now, in order for the mind to be in jhana, in this state of mind where it's very collected and joyful, by definition, traditionally there are none of the 5 hindrances present. So these are also what I call the major prediction errors in the brain. It's the wanting mind, wanting sensual desires, dislike and aversion, worries, agitation, sluggishness, and kind of sloth, torpor, dullness of mind, and then doubts. And it's not so important what category it is, but just notice that this wanting, dislike, worries, sluggishness, and doubts cover most or all of the distractions that would pull your mind offline, pull your meta awareness offline. So once we use the 4 R's to skillfully let go of those, then the mind starts to stay longer and longer with this joyful feeling, positive emotion that you've kindled. And I'll read a adapted translation, which is Sutta number 119 in the Majjhima Nikaya. I'm part of this ancient Pali canon. It goes, quote, "One allows the joy and happiness born of sensory withdrawal to drench, steep, fill, and pervade their body, so that every part of the body is suffused by the joy and happiness from sensory withdrawal." End quote. And now you can notice if the meta awareness begins to collect more and more, pooling into this stable, observing mind. And you can watch it unfold like a movie, getting curious about what's there in the mind. And the factors of the first jhana are this thought, this kind of happy memory that you've used to bring up the positive emotion. There's a sustained thinking of it. So, in other words, you've like put the key in the ignition, then you've turned the key and the engine is going. And then there's also joy and contentment and a unified mind. And this isn't something to force or create, it's just something to notice. And it might take, weeks of practice for this to happen, and it's more likely as you sit longer. But then in the second jhana, that happy memory or phrase or image in your mind becomes a little too heavy. So the mind stays with that positive feeling automatically. And there's just the joy and contentment and this unified mind. Okay, so feel free to continue meditating. As you go deeper in your practice, it really helps to sit longer and longer, up to an hour if possible. If you're coming out of your session, you can just reflect back and notice what you learned about your mind. And then more and more of these deeper states will become accessible as you remember to apply the 4 hours throughout the day and make it part of your regular lifestyle. Great work here, and I'll see you over in the lesson.